what we're doing, period. So Chiropractic Economics is the oldest running publication in the chiropractic industry. We're focused on the business of chiropractic, so enabling the chiropractor from a business standpoint, in addition to new techniques, et cetera, that the chiropractor needs. We're the only requested publication in the industry, which means the doctor of chiropractic is asking to receive the publication, which makes us a little bit too, and we have the biggest web presence as well in chiropractic, which is absolutely fantastic. So our entire goal is delivering content that's designed to make the doctor of chiropractic successful. We are excited about this, though, because we're not reaching enough of the American public or the public in general. And efforts like this and efforts from the foundation are what are going to help us do that. So thank you for all that you're doing.
It's our pleasure. Like I said, we couldn't do it without our fantastic publishers, one being here today. Thank you so much, Nick Doyle, for being part of our board as well as part of our publication in the chiropractic profession. They make the chiropractic profession look good. So thank you so much. Now, we're going to have a fantastic guest lined up, and we want to have a moment of why are we bringing on professional NFL players? What does that mean to chiropractic? Well, listen, each one of them have their own stories, and you can only imagine the types of injuries an NFL player goes through. And I want to hear that story of what does it really mean to have the benefits of chiropractic care when you're an NFL player, and really you can't depend on an opiate if you want to be top of your game. So with us today, we have Big Joe. Big Joe Fauria is not only an NFL player, he is now branching in, and thankfully so, with the mental health. So he is speaking on mental health. He's also been doing some acting, and I think he is very talented. Well, as you know, I talked about him being formerly with the linebackers for the NFL Detroit Lions, but an ankle injury was one of the things that changed his life. And it moved him through a whole new transition. What are the transitions? Well, he went to the Cardinals and the Patriots, and recognizing that his journey is not ending in NFL. He had to look at what is my life going to be? He tried sportscasting. Sports broadcasting was good, but it came with a shroud of depression. And it kind of moved him through, what's my purpose in life? And how will my purpose in the future be utilized to help all of humanity? And I think he's doing a fantastic job. Why do I say that? Because he went through his own personal growth to get to where he is today. He's now relying heavily on the spirituality portion of real wellness care. What types of wellness care? Well, let's look at meditation, breathwork, and yoga. And bringing this information to you, the doctor of chiropractic, the audience around the chiropractic profession, is so important, because sometimes we just need to go top down and kind of level into that experience of what does it mean. So here he has now a passion to bring wellness care to others. And how is he doing that? Well, for the last 5 years, Big Joe has traveled the world. In fact, I think he is a fantastic nomad. He will tell you more about that when we get him on. He has talked to universities, sports teams, and started his own. He's a co-founder of Hello Wellness Retreats. I can tell you, after ChiroThon's over, I would like a wellness retreat. It is a fantastic opportunity for us to rejuvenate, get that energy level back up, or for someone like me, take it down a notch so that you can have the fun back in your life and be balanced. So let's go back to Big Joe. And we met Joe specifically because of a very special individual. That very special connection was made with Eric Kusin by Same Here Global. It was launched in 2017, and it is a global mental health movement. And when I say movement, I really mean movement. Global health care has to be something that we become normalized. So I think for us right now, we need to be opening up our hearts, listening to how we're feeling, having the mental health discussions, and some of them are in fact not comfortable. So I'm going to bring on Big Joe right now to answer some very important questions. Thank you. Hello, Big Joe.
Oh my God! Thank you for the most amazing intro. I felt like you knew me better than I did.
Tell the audience, where in the world is this fantastic nomad?
Well, this giant fantastic nomad is coming to you live from Croatia in Eastern Europe.
How delighted are we? So not only are Eric and I just gave a big interview on who is Eric. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Coming to Orlando and joining us, we have two fabulous people together on this vignette to talk about mental health and also to talk about the journey that led us to mental health. So Big Joe, you can always throw questions over to Eric because he's here too. And I think it's going to be a fun triad of building excitement, inspiration, motivation. Eric, if there's a story to be told, it's told with you and Big Joe. So let's start first with you, Big Joe. First and foremost, I know it hasn't been easy. You know, some paths are a little harder to take than others. You've been in the professional world of sports. What actually brought you to this place in your life in terms of your mental and physical health?
It's a great question because you're actually sitting in front of one of the main reasons. Eric was so vital, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, along my journey. Around the time when I was living in New York and I was, I guess, hitting a quasi rock bottom, I was climbing my way out slowly but surely, and I had the luck and the grace to meet Eric along my journey. And someone like him, we had a lot of parallels in our own lives and our own, spiritual journey, mental health journey, that kind of thing. And I feel so lucky that we're both being able to talk to you right now, and we're gonna give you the best, tit for tat about how we got here. And it was one of those things where I was done playing football. I was still having an ankle injury affect my daily life, and with lack of a really good physical health, my mental health suffered. So from there, I had to learn the hard way through trials and tribulations that there was a certain ownership to me, by me, for me, that I was responsible for. And along that journey, I met Eric, and I was so lucky to have met him, and we've had a relationship grow over the years. So that's why, I get lit up whenever I get to talk to him. We spoke on the phone just before this because, I get a little nervous when I have these talks. I do enough of them, but Eric, hearing his voice in my ear, no matter how many miles away I am, it makes me feel better.
Outstanding. Big Joe, it's really important to share our stories and share our mental health journeys. And since I have you in front of me, Eric, tell us why you started Sane Here Global, and tell us a little bit about where are you taking a mental health movement across the nation?
Well, obviously having Big Joe here and working with professional athletes, where did that come from? My prior life, if you will, was a professional sports executive, started at the NBA league office and worked for a number of NBA and NHL teams. And I was 6 months into my tenure with my most recent team, the Florida Panthers. I was their chief revenue officer, and my brain and my body started to shut down on me. It felt like a computer that was blue screening. And I went the traditional route of medicine, right? What are we here for? We're here for ChiroThon because we want folks to know what chiropractors can do. I'm going to get to that piece of it. But I went the traditional route of medicine. I went to psychopharmacologists and psychiatrists, and over a 2.5-year period, I laid in a bed staring at the ceiling, not watching TV, not listening to podcasts, because my brain felt shut off as these doctors tried over 50 different psychotropic drug combinations on me, TMS therapy, ultimately ECT shock therapy, and none of it worked. And when I came to find an integrative practitioner, and this is where the chiropractic piece will circle in, I came to find out that these life events that I had been through at an earlier part in my life, my brother being sick, cancer twice, and septic shock, and needed a kidney transplant, and was in a coma for 3 months, losing 3 of my close friends at a young age. These were traumatic and stressful events that built up in my system. And what we don't think about often as human beings is, what is the source, right? Dr. Rosa, who you had on yesterday, said when the firefighters come in, they don't look for the smoke and say, how do we get the smoke out of the room? They find where the fire is and they got to get to the fire. I needed a doctor who was going to say, we don't need to put medication on that smoke that you have. We need to get to the source of the fire. The source of the fire is all these life events you've been through. And the man crush that maybe Joe and I have on each other is Joe didn't share it as much. Trauma with his father growing up and his father not being in the picture, the recent loss of his mother. It's amazing to me to see the growth that Joe has taken as an individual. I almost feel like he's my little brother, even though he's bigger than me. But to see that when you start to go to doctors like chiropractors, like integrative professionals who help you get to the source, our goal is to get that information out there. The reason I partner with the athletes that I have the relationships with is, how do you normalize something that society and industry for so long has said, that's the redheaded stepchild, that's the snake oil stuff, that's the alternative stuff. They only do that because they don't want us to know the stuff that actually works. I'm not trying to sell anyone. I don't have any stake in the matter. I'm just the person who got help through natural healing. And I want people to have that same source of help, the way that Joe does it through his yoga practice and mindfulness meditation. We use the stories of athletes, entertainers like Joe to get the message out that we all go through a challenging life event and we all have natural ways we can learn to heal. Our body wants to get to homeostasis.
Our body does want to be in balance. And when Eric says homeostasis, that's really what we're talking about. Wellness is a ever-changing moment. It's the balance between the stress and the relaxation. And as I think about where we are with mental health and physical pain, they go hand in hand. And how do we start to unwind? And that was one of the things that when you and I talked on our podcast, Adjusted Reality, if you haven't seen it, absolutely look up Eric Hudson on our Adjusted Reality podcast. But Big Joe, one of the pieces that I think with how your wellness journey has taken place is that you brought chiropractic into your life. And I'd love to hear from your perspective, how did chiropractic change the way you were feeling? As well, did it help in some of the mental health aspects that kind of drag you down when you're not feeling 100%?
It's a great question. My experience with chiropractors and my relationship with chiropractors along my journey, professionally and at a collegiate level. To be quite honest, I was one of those guys that didn't understand the value and thought I could do it on my own. You know, there's a certain arrogance that you have to have when you get to the professional level of sports. But realizing that it takes a village to get to a certain point. And I was lucky enough to have very good professionals around me to help this machine, this body perform at a high level. In college, I was first introduced to chiropractic, and I was one of those ones that didn't want my head to be snapped off or something like that. I had this irrational fear. And then when I finally got over that fear, I felt relief. And if you do not visit those certain aspects that need your attention, you will eventually see a decrease in your serotonin, your endorphins. You will feel better. You will feel worse. If your physical state is not good, your mental state will not be good. And that just goes without saying. I mean, for the longest time, if I got injured for football and I couldn't play in practice, I couldn't play in the game, I couldn't walk the right way, or whenever I got out of bed, it was ailing and difficult, my mood changed. And with that, the responsibility to take action on those things is I had the ability to have an abundant amount of options for healing. And I was lucky enough to have great healers along the way. And I found yoga around the same time I found chiropractors. And, you know, when it comes to chiropractor, it's you and the chiropractor, and that's it. I got into yoga because I liked sitting in the back and with pretty girls around. But for chiropractors, I couldn't just stretch, because that was one thing. It's when what I preach now in my life is balance. If you give too much attention to one thing, other things will suffer. If you have too much of something in excess, something else will suffer. So when I finally got more comfortable with chiropractic, I was surprised. I was not only surprised, but I welcomed the feeling of, oh, it's not just because I'm not stretching, or I'm not icing, or I'm not in the hot tub, or I'm not doing these certain things. It's because there's something that's not aligned. And it was awe-inspiring, because I thought I knew everything, but at the same time, it was one of those things where I could really lean into having that balance of, okay, I'm gonna get this work done, I'm gonna do yoga, and I'm gonna do chiropractors, and it's gonna get me moving in a certain way that if you don't address it, it can manifest into something more. And you know how the body works. It's a snowball effect. If one thing doesn't get your attention, the body will self-correct and adjust, and some other body part, or bone, or muscle, or tendon, or ligament will do something extra that it's not supposed to do. And that's the one main thing from the dynasty that is the Patriots. It's do your job. You're not playing linebacker hoping to run the ball on offense. You're not playing quarterback thinking about thinking about a field goal. Do your job like your body should do, and it will work, and you will succeed. So if you do not, the chinks in the armor and down the line the chain will continue to suffer, and then it will just get to a point where you're spiraling out of control, and that can totally affect your mood. And I noticed that in my life from multiple aspects, not just my body alignment, not just my mental health, but my spiritual health as well. And all of that, if left unchecked, can make you go through suffering. And that's what we're here for right now. We're here to spread the word in a positive light, that if you keep these things in check and you trust your chiropractor, your masseuse, or anyone that you have to help you heal, you will be in the right direction of less suffering. I mean, life is suffering, but it's how we accept and react to that suffering, so we don't have to wallow in it, be depressed, be anxious. If you address it at the core, at the fire, like Eric mentioned earlier, not just worry about the smoke. If you go to the actual nitty gritty, the bare bones, the center, the origin, you will find peace, and you will find grace in your life, especially with how your mental works, your physical works, and your spiritual.
Outstanding. You know, Big Joy, that hearing that story and knowing that many professional athletes are out there and they are suffering, as you know, because you're going across the nation with Same Here Global, it sounds like you're making amazing movements. And that's why we brought both Eric and Big Joe in, is we want to know that our audience understands that life is a balancing act, that chiropractic plays a holistic, drug-free approach, and that really does matter. And how we get our message out? Well, ladies and gentlemen, family, friends, colleagues, staff, that board back there is how we help those that are suffering, how we get our message of chiropractic benefits across the nation, and what makes a difference in their lives, because many of them don't know that there is a holistic approach. Now, I want to turn it to close out. If you're suffering with a mental health right now, there's help. I want to shift it back to you, Eric, to kind of close out with our audience, how they go back to that balanced wellness state.
Sure. We call it a scale, a continuum, right? Dr. Rosa talked about polyvagal science. We go to a place where we're initially in psychological flexibility, parasympathetic, sympathetic response. Eventually, that sympathetic response becomes dominant. The stuff that Joe was talking about, what happens in our cells start to become inflamed, our amygdala becomes overfunctioned, our vagus nerve starts to lose tone. And then what happened to me, the reason I was in that bed for that 2.5 years, is the shutdown starts to happen. So we call it STAR exercises. Just like there's a gym for the body, we need a gym for the brain. STAR stands for stress and trauma, active, releasing, and rewiring. On the website, samehereglobal.org, folks can find all the many of the, I shouldn't say all of them, many of the inventors of those modalities teaching those exercises. And the reason being here, I want to kick it back to chiropractic as we end, because Joe and I, we're not here to say chiropractic is the be-all end-all, just do that and that alone. What we're saying is chiropractic, along with functional medicine, along with integrative practitioners, getting to the source, these are the types of doctors and modalities that help us actually heal and get to that fire. And that's why we want to lend our support. Joe's here lending his support. People need to know that getting to the source actually gets us healthy into a better place.
Fantastic. Well, we can't thank the audience enough for joining us. Remember, there's a small button. It's called Donate Now. Please think about donating, going to the mental health sites that will help all of us get back to a place of very good balance. Don't go anywhere. First, before we end, we're going to be transitioning to a fantastic experience, a story that you will not forget. But I want to remind you that the streaming could not be possible without ChiroSecure. ChiroSecure is out there helping us move this message across 12 channels. So thank you, ChiroSecure. So stay with us. In just a short moment, we're going to be transitioning to an amazing next guest speaker, Chrissy Hudson. Thank you, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Thanks, guys. I had a joke prepared. I didn't get to do it.
You can go ahead, Joe. Joe, we're
wanna
transitioning right now. Give us your big joke. We need a laugh.
You want to
Yes,
hear
please,
it? Okay,
go
cool.
for it.
Okay, so what is a chiropractor's favorite accessory?
You got me, Big Joe. What is it?
It's a snapback hat. Get it? Snapback.
I get it.
All right. That's my cue. I got to get out of here.
Thank you so much, Big Joe. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you on the next
Thank you
round
guys for
when
having
you're in
me.
America. Take care.
Congrats on 150.
Thank you.
Let's get that quarter mil. Get
That's
that quarter
right.
mil.
Amen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was a short break. It's lunchtime here in Orlando, Florida at FCA The National, and we are running ChiroThon right on time. So enjoy your lunch, because we have a fantastic speaker with us today that could not be possible without Chiro Health USA. Let me just give Chiro Health USA a little bit of a plug, because they are amazing sponsors. Chiro Health USA has been helping over 5,700 member doctors in their pursuit of excellence. How? Well, they're growing their practice with a peace of mind by offering patient affordable health care. That's the critical component. They're trying to ensure that those consumers out there can get the chiropractic care they need. And that's what makes Chiro Health Secure so important. Now, doctor, if you're out there and you're listening, if you want to learn more about Chiro Health, it's easy, chirohealthusa.com. You can take an easy survey on their website, give them all the information that they may need, but trust me when I say this, they are big givers, and with giving comes a lot of love, a lot of security, and they just gave away a scholarship to a very, very talented student. And watching the student and building the legacy of chiropractic right there is amazing. So if you're thinking about a career in chiropractic, please do so. You saw earlier with Dr. Carl Cleveland how amazing it is to become a chiropractor. Also, there's patients listening right now, and this is for you. This is Chrissy Hudson. Chrissy Hudson actually is one of the greatest supporters I've met in chiropractic to date, and I'll tell you why. She is not a chiropractor.
I am a chiropractor.
She is in fact working with Chiro Health USA as their VP, and having been in this role as the VP of Business Relations for Chiro Health USA, you came and you didn't have chiropractic experience, and you lived, learned, and become in love with this profession. I want you to share that love with our audience. I want to ask you, how did you personally get involved in chiropractic?
It's a really funny story. I had taken a break from a different career, and I decided that being a stay-at-home mom was just not for me. And I love my kids. And I applied for a job on Craigslist, which I don't even know why. I'd never even been on Craigslist before. And this job just posted for a personal assistant for a doctor. And I applied. And within 5 minutes, he texted me, emailed me, called me. I met with him the next morning, and that's when I realized it was a chiropractor. And he hired me, and that's how I got involved in the chiropractic profession.
Did you know anything about chiropractic before you jumped into it?
Not really, other than my husband loved going to the chiropractor. And since I'd known him, he had gone to the chiropractor like every couple of weeks for low back pain from his job. And that's all I knew about chiropractic, and nothing he could tell me would get me to go to the chiropractor. So I didn't even get my first adjustment until I started working at Dr. Foxworth's clinic.
She's very honest and transparent, and a lot of you out there may be thinking, I'm not sure about going to see a chiropractor. That's why we brought her here today, because there's a lot of apprehension about knowing when, if, should, would, could I go to a healthcare provider that will provide me the care that I need, because I don't want to take pills. I want a holistic approach to healing. So tell me how your role has evolved over the years. And now that I know you got a chiropractic adjustment, what was the changing factor? What made you go, you know what, I would like to get adjusted. I would like to have some vitalistic energy put back into my life.
Well, and it's funny because it wasn't even vitalistic energy. I had chronic migraines since I was 16 years old, and I was on daily medication. And a shocker, I still got headaches almost every day. And I was in the office one day with a headache, and Dr. Sepalou, one of our associates, was like, let me just adjust you. And I'll be honest, I was scared. I was so scared because I don't want anybody to crack my neck. But he adjusted my neck. It wasn't painful. And I had instant pain relief, which I had not experienced from medication that I had been taking for 20 years.
Oh, 20 years.
20 years.
Audience, I want you to just absorb that fact for just a moment. 20 years of suffering with a migraine, and yet there was apprehension to try something holistic. Doing the medications, and we all know every medication comes with a side effect. That's just a reality. Knowing that and having that experience, where did that take you next in thinking about it?
Within a month, I stopped taking the medication altogether. I was getting adjusted weekly by my chiropractor, and I was sleeping better. I felt better. I had more energy, and I just felt better. And that's when I started having my children adjusted on a regular basis. And my son will be the first one to tell you, I need an adjustment. And he's also was an athlete for many, many years. And when he would compete, and people were like, Chase, where does that come from? You're doing such an amazing job. And he was like, I went and saw my chiropractor.
I love that story. I love that story. And you know, Kristi, it's not just about getting your children adjusted, which if you don't really understand all of what it takes to be at your optimum, many will say, I didn't know chiropractic was for children, and that's okay. Today you have a living example of someone who was reticent about herself getting adjusted, but then started to understand the principles of what the profession brings out. And I know there's a lovely story about her experience and journey that has been so amazing and so inspirational that your 16-year-old son decided to do what?
He wants to go to chiropractic school.
So there you have it. One thing that resonates today is that until you understand there's options, and millions are suffering. In fact, 65 million people have chronic pain. Of those that have chronic pain, you're twice as likely to have a mental health unfortunate event. And we know that through the CDC, 187 people are being lost to opioids. And that's not an answer. It never will be an answer. But if you could kindly tell our audience this last part. This is a very important part for the doctors of chiropractic out there, and I know there's patients, staff, friends, family, colleagues. I want you to hear this very honest last question being answered, because very few will ask it, but most importantly, with someone as transparent and upfront, very few will answer it honestly. So, why do you think it is important for our doctors of chiropractic around the nation, from a patient's perspective, to talk to their patients on a level to which they really do understand? Like, what I'm trying to get at is, it's important for patients to get adjusted, but oftentimes chiropractors, we speak a little up here when we need to come back down here. Tell the chiropractors around the nation, from a patient's experience, what does the patient need from the chiropractor?
You know, I actually just had this conversation with a chiropractor this morning. You talked about the statistics of people living with chronic pain. And if everybody came to a chiropractor because they were in pain, we would be treating so many more people in this country. People learn to live with pain. I lived with it for 20 years, even taking medication. And it wasn't enough for me to go to a chiropractor. But when it starts to affect your daily living, when it starts to affect the things in your life you love, time with your family, your job, activities like golf, gardening, dancing, whatever those things are in your life, when it affects that, that's what brings them into your office as the last resort. And we know what we know in this profession, but our patients are so far removed from that. What they want to know is, I have a problem, and you're going to help me to feel better so that I can get back to gardening, golfing, my grandchildren, my kids, running, all of those things in their lives. They don't want to know how. They don't want to know what's going on in our body that's causing this pain. They want you to say, you know, Kristi, you're having this problem and you came in today because, you know, you can't walk 1 mile with your friends in the morning.
Often we think, oh, it's an easy solution if I just take the Tylenol. It's an easy solution to just take the Advil, the pain medication, the sleeping aids. But we're here today in ChiroThon to spread messages like this. There is a better way to health. Taking a pill for every ill is not the answer. The future is a DC to nurture. And I want you to reflect on that as we transition to our next fabulous guest. I want to thank Chrissy Hudson for her time today. Thank you to Chiro Health USA for sponsoring her vignette. And don't go away. I know you're eating your lunch. Please stay with me. If it's on the West Coast, well, then I think you're just waking up, and I think our next guest is going to do a fabulous job of keeping you awake. Give us just a few moments. We're going to transition. Look at the camera. Okay, that was a short break, and I'm very grateful that you're back here with me, Dr. Sherry McAllister, the president of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. Progress we are making today. Now listen, our whole goal is ChiroThon 2022 is to raise awareness. We're celebrating this fantastic chiropractic profession. We're elevating the knowledge, and trust me, with our next guest, we're going to be elevating the knowledge for you at home and across the nation on what it is that makes for a wellness lifestyle. And don't forget, it's support. It's support that makes this profession move forward, and it's being able to reach those that are suffering. Now today, we have a very special sponsor. It's Biotics Research. And Biotics Research is a leader in the nutrition industry and has been so for 40 years. 40 years of goodness. Known for the top quality supplements and enhanced products. We have a fantastic delivery system, and we will have Mr. Denis DeLuca going over that. The company drives advancement by focusing on research initiatives, unique product formulations, and unprecedented quality control. That's what you want in a nutritional supplement. Biotics Research is most proud of their valued partnership with healthcare professionals like chiropractic. Now, our next presenter is Mr. Denis DeLuca. He is, in fact, the president of Biotics Research. So we're absolutely delighted to have you. Let me tell you just a little bit about the president of Biotics Research. When this was founded, it was 45 years ago, and Denis is at the helm of Biotics Research. And it's a global leader in a field of clinical nutrition. This is important when you're thinking about what you're eating at home and how you're living your life. Because of the strength in the relationship building and the trust that Biotics Research has actually earned, they're now available across the globe. And I would think that if you're not doing your job right, it's going to end in the place that you started. This company is flourishing, and what a blessing it is. We are so truly blessed to have you joining us today. I know all of the many awards and accolades and inspirational things that you have done for the chiropractic profession, but I do want to let everyone know, as the president of biotics research, you also have been on the local community. You've been a huge supporter of your local community.
Yep.
We're very big into people that give back, and you are altruistic through and through. Very kind to the community. I know that you also enjoy some fishing, golfing, and hiking. So he's very, very active, and we know he travels quite a bit. So we're going to start right off, Denis. How does biotics research innovate and help the dietary supplement industry?
Certainly. Well, research isn't just our middle name. Biotics research began true research from the very beginning of the company, really in 1974 and 75, when we started looking at the delivery systems. You know, it's not just what you eat, it's what your body can utilize. And so by coming up with delivery systems that are tailored to meet the body's desires, oily nutrients, when we get them from Mother Nature, they're emulsified in breast milk, seeds, and nuts. We deliver our oily nutrients in an emulsification process because the body utilizes them better and they're absorbed. Same thing with solid doses. We developed a vegetable culture tableting base that has been studied on its own that shows tremendous benefit, value-added benefits. So we are always trying to expand the horizons in clinical nutrition. And again, like you said, we just celebrated our 46th year, and we only speak to doctors. Chiropractors are a tremendous part of our business and always have been. And my family, myself, and our employees get chiropractic care.
That is an important part, and I really do enjoy hearing about what makes a wellness lifestyle. And you started off with, well, getting adjusted is one part of it, but also being able to choose a supplement wisely. Can you talk, so many of them have never even thought about, well, what do I need for my dietary supplementation? And if I need something, how do I choose it wisely?
Well, first off, you're going to rely on your chiropractor because they do their work. They meet with companies like us. We're a big education company. A lot of our energies go into educating physicians. And so we want to look at the core of the products. We want to make sure, first off, that the ingredients that are going into a product are going to be safe and reliable. That's the most important thing, is safety and reliability. But then we have targeted goals that we want to achieve. And so we work with our whole education team, and we educate all over the world. We're in many countries, in many languages, and it always is about education. And your chiropractor is well-versed in clinical nutrition. It's something that's a big part of their practice, and they know that if they're using quality nutritional products, the adjustments are holding longer. And they're seeing, when we talk about lifestyle and a wellness lifestyle, we're not talking about just exercise, not just eating well, not just getting adjustments. They all come together as a family. And so there are studies that show that with nutrition, you'll hold your adjustment better. But your chiropractor really is a holistic practitioner in that they look at you as an individual. Not everybody is the same. And so our company has over 300 formulas, but the chiropractors and the other physicians, they look at you, they look at your posture, they look at your fingernails. We don't want people to try and self-diagnose. We want you to go see your doctor because they will manage, they will get you on a program, they will manage your progress or even your lack of progress. Equally as important. And know that every time your chiropractor or any physician recommends a dietary supplement or another product, they're putting their reputation on the line. So it's really critical for them that you get the best results possible.
Outstanding. One of the keys as we go through, and you've been with us the entire weekend long, is the ability to understand educating yourself is in fact your primary goal. The more you know, the better you can do for yourself, self-care, and the better you can do for your family. And it's products that are educating the community and the professionals, like biotics research, that makes a difference. I want to ask you one last question, because your line of products of biotics research and working with the chiropractic profession, what are some of the interesting research that you have seen? Maybe one that kind of sticks in your brain that the consumer really should know about, that has kind of come out and it never made mainstream media, but today here with us, you're going to learn about wellness on a whole new level, and we're very grateful for Denis to be able to share that. What would one that you think maybe the consumer out there needs to know about?
Well, I think maybe a couple of different things. This is the first company that started publishing data on increasing your vitamin D levels. Today, we know how important that is. There is no nutritional supplement company in existence of any significance that has not benefited by the research and development we've done. We've changed the market as far as vitamin D. But there were chondroprotective studies that we've done with other ingredients for soft tissue damage. A lot of people go see their chiropractor because they've had a soft tissue injury. And we can get you back to work or get you back on the playing field much sooner utilizing the proper targeted nutrition and delivering it in a way that the body can see it. We are the first company that introduced coenzyme Q10 to the market. So our research is pioneering. But to answer your question, I think I'm almost going to take it a little bit differently. There's so much research out there showing that a high percentage of products don't have what they say they should have.
Oh.
And that's, like 20%. And we just saw recently data that said 25% of the companies aren't even registered with the FDA. So your chiropractor is going to know the brands that they know and trust. We believe that they're going to find product like ours that utilize the best of science and nature. We've got many clinical studies, but Biotics, we're here at FCA, which is an incredible forum, and we're the first and only research partner they have. And we contribute to that. Last night, I made a contribution that brought our sponsorship for research for chiropractic and beyond to $220,000.
Outstanding.
So we invest in the community.
And he has invested in ChiroThon. I can't thank you enough for being here today to share with the consumers, the doctors of chiropractic, how we get the education out there, the quality of education, and being able to offer all of the right solutions at the right time. And I want to sincerely thank you for your graciousness and gratitude for being here today and sharing with us on ChiroThon 2022. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's absolutely our pleasure as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Don't go away. We have so much more to do today. We have another guest with our Dr. Kimberly Bussen, and I want you to recognize we're making progress up there on the board. So there's a little button below. I know there's many of you streaming on 12 different channels, but do remember, ChiroThon 2022 is making a difference. And I hope you will join us again back here at 2:40. Thank you so much.